this one? For this here, like this? Or close to each other?
from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with a boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare. Side by side we stand, islands of the blue Caribbean Sea. This our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
O kind and Heavenly Father, as we gather here this afternoon to discuss the business of cricket, we ask for your guidance. We ask for your presence with us, dear Jesus. That everything that we do it in a good way to enhance the good game of cricket in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider region. We ask for your guidance, your protection. For those who will come in, when you will come in, we keep with us. While we are here, we ask you to abide with us. When we are about to leave, we ask you to take your leave, to carry us home safe to our friends and our family, to our way to our region. We thank you in Jesus' name we pray. Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to thank the media for coming this afternoon, to our new executive, interim executive, of which we are here to rebuild and rebrand the game of cricket in Trinidad and Tobago. We thank you for your presence, and we wish you all a safe journey home. I now take this opportunity to introduce the members of our team. We have a chief coordinator, Mr. Jerry Dalabai, chief administrative coordinator, Ms. Eleanor Leong, the chief executive financial coordinator, Mr. Parana Nandu, executive marketing coordinator, Steve Norrie, and the executive local female coordinator, Ms. Judy Ford. Right. We have a few members who unfortunately cannot be here with us this afternoon. That's Mr. Baldot Ramanat, our overseas coordinator, Mr. Inshan Ali, our local male coordinator, Mr. Marcus Daniel, Tobago coordinator, and Mr. Brent Jurity, our youth coordinator. Thank you. I now ask Ms. Leong to read out our media release, and we're free to take questions after.
Pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to read a brief history of the Trinidad and Tobago Wind. Okay, so I'll be reading a brief history of the Trinidad and Tobago Windball Cricket Association. The game of windball cricket, as it is more popularly known today, started around 1950s in Trinidad and Tobago when it was called flannel ball cricket. The first name was derived from the rubber lawn tennis ball, which was covered with a white flannel outer casing and was ideally suited for the informal playing conditions, primarily the neighboring streets, backyards, school compounds, or almost any open playfield area. This version was an appropriate alternative to the hardball cricket, which could have caused severe damage to personal property, vehicles, and persons. There were no official tournaments or competitions at that time, so the traditional up the road, down the road, or village versus village types of informal matches were very prevalent. In the 1970s, we saw the introduction of officially organized tournaments and also the color change of the tennis ball from white to yellow to assist with better visuals during television coverage. In the 1980s, the first national Windball team was selected and comprised of 18 players, selected from Stag Island-wide Windball Cricket Tournament, which was the brainchild of Dennis Ramdeen of Stag Brewery. In the 1900s, the first West Indies Windball Cricket Tournament was played in Trinidad and attracted club teams from the neighboring West Indian islands. The tournament was subsequently taken to the regional countries, but was dominated by Trinidad and Tobago teams for many years, until its eventual non-existence in the late 2000s. Anthony Harford, rest in peace, the tournament's creator from All Sports Promotion, took the tournament internationally, where it was played for the first time at Disney World, Florida in June 2000. Formation of Ttwca. In 1991, on the advice of Mr. Dennis Ramdeen of Stag Brewery, the Trinidad and Tobago Windball Cricket Association, Ttwca, was officially formed with its first president being Mr. Neil Lopez, who served for a short period and was subsequently replaced by Mr. Robin Oja. Mr. Oja's service was unbroken for over 30-plus years until he officially demitted office on Wednesday, 5th April 2023. Under his tenure, Ttwca became a bona fide sporting organization registered with the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs on February 20th, 1995. Numerous developmental and coaching programs were formulated, and in conjunction with the Ttwca sports movement, under Mr. Oja's presidency also, they were able to increase the enthusiasm and participation of men, women, school children, and the business sector by having divisional and industrial league tournaments to allow for all-inclusiveness and overall participation. Just prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ttwca started experiencing an increasing lack of enthusiasm and participation from its aging executive members, leading to some inactivity and eventual hiatus until early 2023. As we gather here today, we applaud the efforts of all the persons who would have given of their time and efforts to serve at both the executive and management levels, and also those who assisted in various committees or other capacities prior to the COVID-19 pandemic. Nonetheless, we single out Mr. Oja for his 30-plus years of sporting administration and his vision for the game of Windball cricket, inclusive of his overwhelming contributions to Ttwca and its immediate environs. We publicly ask and implore that the relevant authorities bestow on Mr. Oja a national award in keeping with his years of overall dedication, sporting administration, and community service. Rebranding and rebuilding of Ttwca. In September 2022, a group comprising of Windball cricket past and present executive members, players, and enthusiasts embarked on a mission to rebrand and rebuild the Ttwca, with the hope of restoring the diminished interest, especially at the executive management level. Several advertisements were posted inviting members to attend an annual general meeting and Ttwca executive election, but there were poor responses to both the first and second meetings, thus the inability to form the constituted quorum. At the second meeting on 28 September 2022, which comprised of only 5 persons, it was agreed that a steering committee be installed for the purpose of creating a plan for the way forward. Mr. David Joseph, former TTW CEO, gave the committee of 4 persons the necessary approval to undertake this venture with a final submission timeline of 1 month. The steering committee comprised of Mr. Pamana Nandu, Mr. Steve Norrie, Mr. Inshan Ali, and Mr. Jerry Dolabai, who eagerly and enthusiastically set about to produce a proposal within the stipulated period. The final proposal was submitted ahead of time, and a third official TTWCA meeting was advertised for Wednesday, 26 October 2022. Once again, this meeting was poorly attended with only 6 persons, and in keeping with the guidelines stipulated in the TTWCA Constitution, the persons present voted and adopted the steering committee proposal, giving full authority to a TTWCA executive elect group. This decision did not go down well among some members, and the matter was taken to the Ministry of Sport and Community Development, where both the new TTWCA elect group and 3 members of the then existing TTWCA executives were summoned to separate arbitration meetings. On Wednesday, 5th April 2023, at the final mediation meeting, it was unanimously agreed that the new TTWCA elect group be given the total control in keeping with the steering committee proposal and to begin the rebranding and rebuilding phase of TTWCA for a period of 6 months, after which time both a general meeting and executive elections will be conducted. The new TTWCA elect group comprises of the following persons: Jerry Dolabai, Executive Chief Coordinator; Eleanor Leong, Executive Administrative Coordinator; Pamana Nandu, Executive Financial Coordinator; Steve Norrie, Executive Marketing Coordinator; Baldev Ramratan, Executive Overseas Coordinator; Inshan Ali, Executive Local Male Coordinator; Judy Ford, Executive Local Female Coordinator; Marcus Daniel, Executive Tobago Coordinator; and Brent Durity, Executive Youth Coordinator. This executive committee will be responsible for the day-to-day business operations of the TTWCA, undertaking the following over the next 6 months. 1. Installation of Executive Management Committee, which was already completed. 2. Rebranding of TTWCA. 3. Membership drive. 4. Regularization of affiliate leagues. 5. Installation of advisory committee. 6. Funding and sponsorship. 7. Caribbean Windball Cricket Tournament 2023. 8. Annual General Meeting. And 9. Executive Management Elections. Other initiatives will include TTWCA select male and female teams who will participate in a series of exhibition games at Lupino, Sangre Grande, South Central, Port of Spain, and Tobago in a bid to attract new membership. Formation of CSWCA. The Caribbean Soft Windball Cricket Association is the brainchild of Mr. Jerry Dolabai, who saw the need for a governing body to assist with the standardization of both local windball cricket and softball cricket, and also to popularize the sport locally, regionally, and internationally. To date, the CSWCA has completed its steering committee phase, and the proposed association has 12 affiliate nations inclusive of Trinidad, Tobago, Canada, New York, Florida, Antigua and Barbuda, Guyana, St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Lucia, Barbados, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. One future endeavor is the Caribbean Primary School Soft Windball Cricket Tournament, which will be hosted by Trinidad and Tobago. Each participating playing nation will select a national primary school team comprising of 6 boys and 5 girls on field. This will be an annual tournament, and each member affiliate country will be given the opportunity to host the tournament in its respective country. Funding and sponsorship. It costs money to successfully run an association and also helps with achieving set targets and financial goals. Presently, the TTWCA is cash-strapped due to in part the following: TTWCA long layoff post-2018, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the removal of annual subvention by the Ministry of Sport. The TTWCA is in urgent need of funds. Hence, we are making an open request to the Government of Trinidad and Tobago, Ministry of Sport, corporate sector, sporting enthusiasts, and the public at large to assist in achieving our desired goals and objectives. We make a special plea to our internationally accredited T20 players, Kyron Pollard, Dwayne Bravo, Sunil Narain, Lendale Simmons, being just a few from that very long list, who would have played windball cricket with several of our top local teams at our popular tournaments, both locally and regionally. If they are unable to contribute financially, maybe they can use their influence and relations to attract that much-needed assistance for the TTWCA. Thank you.
Are you able to hear me there? Okay. All right. It is our desire to approach all the public sector businesses. We have already have a list, compiled a list of 100 companies that we would like to embark in a partnership for probably a short-term or a long-term period, looking like 3 years and beyond. So we believe that once we launch today and we're able to get these letters out, we should get a positive response from those corporate sector businesses. All right. Derived from the mediation we had with the Ministry of Sports, we were given a mandate to rebrand and rebuild the Trinidad and Tobago Windball Cricket Association within a 6-month period. We are not going to go the route of competitions because we already have smaller leagues being run by community groups. What we want to do is to do a total membership drive in keeping with our mandate, and we would also want to do some bit of training for umpires to have them certified at our level. And it's a myriad of things that we would want to do, but it will not be able to be achieved within that 6-month period. We know that there's a primary school tournament that is supposed to happen very soon, island-wide. We are trying to work with the Primary School Association to assist with that project so that we won't have to discover the wheel. If they're already having a project, we can work. I already spoke with someone concerning that, and they are asking that we can assist in the short term. I hope that answers your question. So this executive here has a 6-month term in office. After that now, everything is going to be dismantled at the level of the executive, and a general election is going to be held, and also the membership, which would have been derived from this 6 months rebranding and rebuilding, will be given the opportunity to go up for office and also to vote. Because of the long layoff from 2018 to now, the existing Trinidad and Tobago Windball Cricket Association had been fragmented, and people were not paying their dues. So by virtue of not having meetings and not having financial members, we did not have what should I say, an existing body. But nonetheless, it wasn't totally destroyed. So our job now is to rebuild this and bring it back to some level that is acceptable. And we are hoping that as of today onwards, that the general public is going to buy into this, because we have local, regional, and international enthusiasts, and we hope that they become members, and eventually we would have a lot more people putting their names forward to form the executive and the number of other committees that we may have. Well, we are not hoping for the best after 6 months. We are saying that we are going to ensure that we have the best after 6 months. We're no longer hoping. The hope is over now. We are going to put a mechanism in place that it is going to happen. I have the firm belief, along with the people at my head table, which is a group that was put together, and we believe that this is going to happen. There's a lot more that we want to do. The history of Windball cricket, a documentary. I spoke to a gentleman in England, and we're trying to do a documentary on Windball cricket from the 1950s to where we are today. It's going to be a 60 minutes documentary. And there's so many other things that we want to expose the Windball fraternity to, which is the Caribbean Soft Windball Cricket Association, where we're going to have national teams representing the various Windball sporting nations. We're going to, at the school level, we're going to do that at the adult level. We want to have insurance for players. We want to have a pension plan for players. We want to have what is called a Hall of Fame award, where these Hall of Famers will form themselves into a group, and then they now will have something like a foundation, similar to what we see with all the other sports, basketball and cricket and hardball cricket and football. So it's a lot of things, but 6 months, it's only the period that we were given to do part of it. But this is just futuristic and thinking beyond. We are confident that after the 6 months period, that the people that are addressing you here today will probably be people to form that executive for a 3-year period. Whoever is coming into office after the 6 months period will hold an office for 3 years. The president, as I am, you say president, we say the executive chief coordinator, will only serve 3 years. When that person serves 3 years, that person is going to go into another level, which is what we call the advisory level. And then further to that, that person could go on to the Caribbean international level. So it's a stepping stone in terms of what we want. And also to give the younger persons a chance to really come up with ideas, better ideas. Because sometimes you have people in positions and they're limited. But we don't want to. I personally, as the leader of this group here today, I personally believe in empowering the young people. I'm 65. 3 years from now, I'll be 68. You don't know what the plans God have for me. And we have a lot of young people. We have Mr. Nandu, he's a school teacher, right? We have Mr. Dore, a young fella again. We have Mrs. Leog. We have Judy Fort. And we have other persons that we believe can take this to the next level. I hope that gives you a little insight into what we want to do. But as I said, it's only 6 months, and we're limited in terms of the time, but not limited in terms of what the ideas or what we're able to do. Well, as we stated, we need money. And one of the things that we are going to pursue is funding. The ministry no longer has what is called a subvention. That existed many years ago, where if you are a non-governmental body, as we are, they give you an annual subvention, $200,000, and that takes care of salaries and per diems and different things. That has been stopped, and what they do now is called a grant. So it means you have projects, you go to them, and based on what you present doesn't necessarily mean what you ask for is what you're going to get. We are not at the elite level. We are like in the second tier. When you have the elite athletes, their funding is guaranteed. So what the structure we came up with, it's what I call it's a hybrid structure. It's sporting and corporate. People will say secretary, president, treasurer. We don't have that here. What we have is Mrs. Leong. She's the executive administrative coordinator. It means she runs a department, which is the administrative department. We have Mr. Nori. He's into marketing, so he runs a marketing department. We have Mr. Nandu. He's into the finance. He's running a finance department. So each person here who is a coordinator will be running a department. They would get their staff and the necessary infrastructure in place to have this, because we are going to turn this into a corporate business so that we will not have to be going cap in hand asking for donations. But this today, it's just the starting point of what we believe will be the new look Trinidad and Tobago Windball Cricket Association, and also the new look way of introducing corporate business into sports. All right. So what we are trying to do, we formulated what is called the Caribbean Soft Windball Cricket Association. The reason why we say soft windball is because in the other islands like Dominica and Guyana, they call it softball. They call it bumper ball. They even call it underarm bowling. Right. They call it tape ball as well, bumper ball. Different names, but they all use the tennis ball, which is common. So we look at the wind ball, which is common. Trinidad and Tobago, we call it windball cricket. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to combine all the names and all the versions and come up with something that is unique to the Caribbean. So we will have accommodation for overarm, pelting, overarm bowling, and also underarm. But again, we will do it in sort of like divisions. We're not going to combine it into the same game because it will be at an advantage or disadvantage. When I speak to some of our former windball cricketers who are out in New York, especially, they are telling you that underarm windball cricket or underarm softball cricket, it's big. It's equivalent to IPL in terms it has taken over New York by storm. Although the Trinidadians still play the Pelton version, the underarm version has taken over, because in places like India and these places, they call it gully cricket. And that is a big business. And what is happening is that because New York is like a hub for all these people from all over the world, you find there's a league developing now, and it's taken over by storm. And the prize money is huge, and they're talking about the equivalent of famous players from different islands participating in this tournament. We are not at that level, but we are hoping to take our windball cricket locally, regionally, and internationally. That's it? All right, so I just want the treasurer to make a little statement here, because he's the bad with the money, or looking for the money, so we ask him to say something.
Good afternoon, all. Well, as the president or the chief executive coordinator just said, we are looking for money because we don't have any. This new look executive have not been privy to any existing financial situation of the old executive, unfortunately. So, as it is, we are at zero, trying to go forward. So in order to move forward, we are seeking sponsorship from government, non-government, business, corporate, individuals, as the statement would have indicated. So that will help us to achieve the objectives of this new look executive, which has such great plans for Windball cricket. And it only augurs well for the future of sport in Trinidad, Caribbean, and internationally, where we plan to take Windball cricket. It's something that is probably indigenous to our island, that is, as he said, the pelting version. But as with everything else, there are accommodations to be made. And with the funding, it will help us have workshops so we could talk to different companies, different countries, different islands to come to a consensus where we can take it. Probably, as the CEO said, different levels, different division, pelting, bowling, underarm, as the case may be. So we really have great plans for Windball cricket in the future. And given the correct funding and opportunity, I'm sure we will be successful in that area. But as we said, everything requires funding. Thank you.
I want to thank you all, gentlemen, this afternoon for the questions. I hope we were able to answer the questions that were asked and to clarify what this association plans to do in the not-too-distant future. I want to thank each member for making the opportunity to come out. You know, outside the weather was a bit inclement, but we are here successfully, and I thank everyone who made the opportunity to come out here this afternoon. Thank you again, and have a good evening.